sauti soli na dieri ya kumechacha. Karibuni kwenye extravaganza, Benzoli alipofika alifunika. Wakaja na madrama, sinema zetu ni telenovela. Wakasinda misinga, hawakujua situko mabela. Wakaita polisi, kumbe polisi pia ni shabiki. Wakaficha msosi, wakatupata na dishi mezani. Rumba imechanga, sauti soli na dieri ya kumechacha. Kila kona yoyo, extravaganza na pili alipofika alifunika. Walifunga milango, wakatupata tuko ndani nao. Wakaita makanjo, kumbe ni sisi huwalipa sala wakwao. Wakazima mitambo, shabiki wakabaki kwenye denso. Na iwe kutu kwao, tunaongoza wanafuata nyayo. Rumba imechangwa, sauti soli na dieri ya kumechacha. Karibuni kwenye extravaganza, na Benzoli alipofika alifunika.
Wakaja na umati, wakageuka kuwa wafuasi. Wakaja na madini, wakapata tushazama kwa dini. Nyele za kifarasi, lakini sini moto ya makasi. Risasi mwendo kasi,
Right, so we can start this. Hi, so welcome guys for this for tonight's conversation. So you're welcome to join this conversation. Tonight we are having a conversation about this. I'll try to mute your mic a bit. All right. So tonight we are having a conversation. Just a minute. Okay. Let me mute your mic because of the noise. Just a little bit. So tonight we have a conversation about okay, how do I say this? Just living a beautiful life. Yeah. So you can join us in this conversation. So we'll be maybe talking about this, how you view it. There's two sides of the coin. Or I don't want to start it right now. But basically, we want to talk about living a beautiful life, living a good life. There's those who say, okay, I won't preempt. this
Sorry, you want to?
Let me mute you first. There is a lot of background noise. I don't know why. I don't know if it's TV or something. All right. So I'm saying, guys, you can join this conversation. It's easy to join. I've put a link on the description of this video, so you can actually get that link, and then you can join this conversation. Yeah. Daisy. All right. So Daisy,
can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, it's better. But it seems your video again has maybe has some problem. We cannot see you clearly. I don't know. Can you try to restart your phone again, or we cannot see you? We cannot see you clearly. Like I was seeing you.
Is this better?
Not yet. It's just I think it's a network issue. Can you try to restart either your phone or your network provider? Can you try that? All right, good. You can. So guys, you can join this conversation. I'll be just here waiting you guys to join. All right.
Wakaenda kusini, wakajipata wako kaskazini, wakaja na madini, lakini situ.
All right. Daisy, still you are not clear, but if you want to continue that way, we can continue, but it's not still clear.
Okay, we'll just proceed like that because I don't know what more I can do. I have restarted and just set it.
All right, good, no problem. So where do I start? So maybe first, Daisy, you can share about how maybe you try to live a beautiful life, and then we will be maybe diverging, okay, this conversation on how we can age and maybe die well, die good. I mean, die after you have done good, and maybe you have lived life without a lot of pain. Yeah. And by the way, this conversation is not about God. So let it not be about church or what. We just want to understand how we can find uh, a reason to live and how we can find meaningful life. All right. So Daisy.
Thank you so much. I know you've said that this is not a conversation about church or anything, but it's really hard for you to separate me from that because I can generally tell you like my faith in God is really what keeps me going. That one I will not lie. And it's not every day that you wake up and you are like, oh, I'm feeling great. They're not so great days, and on those days you rely on something greater. But what I can touch on is probably kindness, being kind to others and being kind and empathetic to people around you. We were all brought up in different environments with the different lessons. We all think different. The way we see life, our perspective is very different from each other. So being in that position to be kind and try to understand what it is like to be in another person's shoes, I think it lowers your expectation because we live life kind of expecting that everybody should do things for us the way we want them to be done. And we need to understand that people have been raised different, we grow up different, so the way we also perceive life is different. So understanding how we come about together, it lowers expectations, it lowers the rate of disappointment, and allows us to just focus on what we want to do in life or what we want to be in life. And at the end of the day, again, giving yourself just that kind of hope and risk, in life. You and I always talk about how betting happens. Betting itself is a risk. You don't know. It's either it's going to be really good or it's going to be really bad. There's no like in between. So everything in life is a risk. You just put your work out there, your art, your anything that you basically want to do in life. You just put it out there and hope that it is going to take root and fly. Even
Let me
as
ask,
a farmer.
I'll be asking several, maybe so maybe you have to go to details. I'll be getting you maybe to give a perspective one after the other, right?
Oh,
So maybe,
yeah, okay.
so let's start. How many of us actually maybe are ready to die? Are you ready to die?
How many of us are ready to die? No, I'm not ready to die. Not now. I know eventually it's a phase of life that we are going to face. But you see, right now, I feel like my cup is still full. It's not even started pouring out. You know the way you put tea in a cup, and then you carry the cup, say, from the kitchen to the living room. And some of it tends to spill if the cup is too full. So I'm in that phase in my life where I feel like my cup is still on its way to the living room so that, we sit down and enjoy the content properly. So I'm not in any way ready to die now. I really, really pray for God's mercy to
Right. So
assist me.
now maybe I want to mention, if you want to join this conversation, it's very easy. I have put a link on that comment on that description of this video, so you can actually join. So Daisy, the other perspective is if you're not ready to die. So why?
Why am I not ready to die? I feel like I've said, I feel like there's so much I am yet to offer the world. You know, there's so much talent, there's so much skill, there's so much knowledge, kindness. There's so much that I want to do to not only help my family, but also make the lives of other young people better, you know, and just give them that opportunity or to grow with them, you know, and kind of just walk through life's journeys. There are things that I want to do. Like, for example, I'm really hoping that throughout, hopefully one day I'll get like a pilot's license. I want to learn how to fly a plane, by the way, Patrick. That one is a must, you know. I need to know how to fly a plane. So those are things I'm yet to do, and I'm praying for grace and time, you know, to get that time in the world to do them.
All right, thank you, Daisy. Let me bring Alphonse to this conversation. Alphonse, welcome. So we're basically going to discuss about how to live a meaningful, beautiful life. Yeah. But as we started, Daisy is actually basing her model on church and Christ. I'm hoping, I know even Alphonse basis is model on that, but I just want Alphonse's perspective, since we don't have many people joining right now, maybe now to go, that person who doesn't base their model on Christ, how can they also live a beautiful, fulfilling life? So, but anyway, first of all, Alphonse, are you ready to die?
Yes, I'm ready to die.
You are ready to die? Okay, so give us a reason why.
Yeah, because I am alive. You don't prepare to die if you are dead. You are only ready to die if you are alive. Yes. The issue is if I'm not ready to die, then the question will be what do I need to accomplish before I die? And what I have discovered is that we have different stages in life. Some people will die the day they were born. The others who will have stillbirth. And others will be 100 years and counting, even if they desire to die, and even after some have attempted to die and kill themselves and they have not. So death is not necessarily pegged on your physiological age. So, but death is a termination of physical life, at a specific stage. So the question is, what was your purpose? Is it accomplished? You see, when Jesus died after 33.5 years, he had accomplished his purpose. Some of us by 45, you have not even started the journey towards our purpose. And others at age 12, they have already finished their purpose. And your purpose can be for a village, your purpose can be for the entire globe, your purpose can be for a nation. You see, when Mandela spends 27 years in jail and comes out and takes 5 years to accomplish his purpose and leaves presidency, but with a huge legacy, you see, the 27 years was part of his preparation towards the purpose. So he could not have died before the 5 years of demonstration of the purpose, but then that demonstration of the purpose needed preparation prior. Now, for me, I usually say this: you better be ready to die now, so that you have nothing pending today. If you have something pending today, then even if you die today, tomorrow you will have had some what I call backlog. And you see, backlog are those things that you want to even start hiding so that we don't see you. I would say that you can commit them or do them. But there's something that I think I want to make reference to what Daisy is saying about dying. So before you die, you must also ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish and what is the basis? So when Daisy is saying Jesus Christ is her basis of life, and therefore, if you want to die, there are things that you must meet within Christ's context, so that when you die a good death. You make a transition. You actually get transformation into another form. But if you are a thief and you believe very well that your purpose is to steal, so what is it that you want to steal before you die? What is it? How much you want to steal? Is it a specific item? Is it in a specific manner of stealing that you want to do it before you die? Then the issue should be that how will it transform the society? Yeah, you see, Hitler died, and he delivered the Second World War. Yeah, Hitler died, and he delivered the killing of the Jews. Yeah.
All right.
So we remember him for such. So our viewers who want to connect to us is whether you are doing the right or the wrong, the good or the bad, but what is that one thing that you are purposely living for? And if you are already in that direction, how much of your energy are you giving to it? So that when you stop here, you have stopped empty. As in me today, Patrick, anybody who has met me, and if they have never gotten my mind, they never met me. Even you, the first you go to me and the first day we talked, I gave you myself. So if you don't like it, leave it. You're getting it. And
Yeah.
and when I tell you I'm a father, I'm a Christian, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a brother, all those things I have to deliver them day to day. Yeah. So
Right.
let me hear what others have to say now that Abok is on board. I might be hiding my face because today I'm very shabby a bit.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not seeing a barber, so
And I had already. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Abok, I want to bring your perspective, but I just want to understand. This is basing her perspective in Jesus Christ, and she's saying for her, she has not accomplished enough. So she's not ready. Not yet. She has to hold on. So, but Abok, the perspective maybe you can bring to this conversation at this stage is what defines a beautiful life. I mean, in this maybe country, people, it seems like they are surviving.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Patrick. Good evening, Alphonse.
Hello.
Yes,
I'm
Alphonse.
fine, thank
how
you.
are you? And what about Sister Daisy? How are you? Yeah, I've just joined when Alphonse was talking about death, and I was somehow scared because he was addressing a very serious issue. Even though we are promised that it is the last phase of our life, especially for non-believers, it's not a very good subject to address always. I don't know exactly where to start or what to start with, but I want to collect my thoughts and join you, give my perspective at a later time. And because this is is a topic that I want to enjoy, and I enjoy it. I've heard Alphonse saying that he wants to live, or he lives his purpose right now. But somebody once said that even if you are given 1,000 years to live on earth, you will not accomplish your purpose. You will not accomplish what life has given to you. But Daisy is talking about the life of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ took 30 years to prepare for a mission which lasted for 3 years. So really, it's a very interesting debate. I just want to listen first before I come on board.
Right. Thank you for that. So Daisy, I want to come back to you. Maybe now, since you're basing your model on Jesus, yeah. Maybe I can start by you telling us. Maybe you can start by telling us specifically what defines a good life for you, and why do you have to wait to fulfill some tasks that you have said, so that you can be ready. Daisy. Daisy. Right.
Abok has said a very. Can you hear me?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah.
I'm saying Abok has said something that. Okay. Abok has said something that I really want to base the conversation on. He's talked about how Jesus took 30 years to prepare for a mission that was to last him 3 years. That's a very, very good point, and it's something that we really need to note. I mean, when a child is born, you don't make them walk immediately. This child has to be guided through the phase of life, telling him this is how you step left, right, this is how you eat, this is how you do this. All of it is part of preparation before you can really get to do whatever it is that you really want to do, or what your purpose in life is to actually achieve it. So the same way coming to us, we don't start immediately, because at the end of the day, it is a journey. It is not a race. On your mark, get set, go. No, it is a journey. It's something that we
Right. Sorry, seems Daisy has some network issue. So before she comes back, we can go to Alphonse. So in this country, in Kenya, or even in other countries in Europe, in the Asian, everywhere, in Africa, everywhere, what really defines a good life? I mean, what really defines a good life? A good car, a good house, a good wife?
What defines a good life is contentment in the life you are living. If you're not contented, it doesn't matter what you have. Yes, so it is contentment, basically. So before you start living or not living a good life, you must be contented with specifics in life. So if those specifics are met, going forward, you can only upgrade, but you remain living a good life. And I want to give an example. For me, if I can eat and feed my dependents and provide to them basics, that is food, shelter, clothing, and school, then my good life begins there. Yeah, so I would like to do very many great things given bonus, but to me, that's what good life stands for in terms of family responsibilities and leadership responsibilities that I have in the family setting. Now, the other part is I also consider good life to be constituted of living a life that if you copied it, I'll be happy. If you talked about it, then you will not be ashamed. So I always set examples for myself that if I was to repeat the same life, it becomes difficult for me to repeat living the same. So to me, good life is, do we meet the basics? Are these basics available to everybody around me or to majority around me? Then if what I'm doing, I'm able to share and help somebody get out of the mud, good life for me has begun. And the other thing I've learned is it's not having the material possessions that gives you good life. It is not having the money that gives you good life. Otherwise, the poorest of the society would have missed that good life. But guess what? The poorest of the society have had enough time to sleep, and they even wonder if this thing called stress is also a condition that people suffer from. Because to them, life is lived that day completely. So even if you ask them about procrastination, there are very few things, if any, that they push to tomorrow. Because today's events are done today, closed today, and spent today. If you discuss with them, they will not tell you they want a 5-bedroom house, because a house is a house, not with bedrooms. So when you start having problem of how many bedrooms you have, yet what you need is the house. Yeah. So to them, it's not how many inches of a TV, but if they have the TV, that is enough. Yeah. It is not having pizza. In fact, when you are struggling that you have not eaten pizza and you have craving for pizza, then they just say, I've eaten, And so you find that even their diet is not measured in school, and they don't have diet problems as long as food is available. So you'll be wondering why you are always eating balanced diet and you have balanced diet problems. You are obese, yet you have been eating in a calculated manner, because you are not contented in the life you're living, the other things just become very difficult to have a life worth living. So you're in distress. So to me, contentment is the basic level that requires, and you must define it beforehand. Otherwise, you will drive a car and discover that the car you are driving is not the car that others who drive cars drive. Because initially you wanted a car, and then you discover you have a Toyota, and a Toyota in front of you has, at the back is written, the car in front of you is always a Toyota, and yours is also a Toyota. So you start thinking you need a Mercedes. Then you discover when you have a Mercedes C200, you the Toyota Mercedes. So you need something, yeah. So when you thought V8 is the car, you discover that if you spend your money to buy the V8, then the V8 problems are bigger. But now for you, if you are striving for class, now you are thinking of either a Hummer or a Ferrari, which you cannot afford, and therefore your distress is what you are chasing, not your appreciation of what you have. So if you're contented, you'll thank God, you will appreciate that which you have, but then you'll ask for a new challenge, not necessarily because you are not happy, but because a new challenge will allow you to make life or better for yourself and for people around you. Let me pause. I don't know if I've responded to you.
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you for that perspective, Alphonse. But I'm not sure if Abok is ready. So I'll, if I get the signal from him, that's when I want to go back to him. Is your signal
Okay.
now? We okay now? I want to bring up.
Yes, I can give you a signal.
Okay.
Yeah, let me speak before Daisy takes us back to the topic. Huh?
Okay. Let me ask you this. Abok, first let me ask you this. Alphonse was talking about Toyota and German machine cars. Of course, I have to say, I have friends. They don't drive. Some of them don't drive Toyotas. And they usually say they don't do it. They can never drive a Toyota. Now the question is, is that how we should define even life?
Sorry. You know, to me, let me start by saying that to me, a good life, what is a good life? A good life is a life that you live with the things that money cannot buy for you. That is a good life. When I base the quality of my life based on money, then of course money is never enough. We can actually see that having money and having happiness are two different things. You choose to be happy whether you have money or not. But most of the times, money is a source of very many unhappy moments that we face. So to me, good life means having those little things in life that money can never buy for you. And Alphonse has just talked about one, which is contentment, meaning I'm very much satisfied with what I have. What I have, I can be having Toyota Vitz, and to me, what I needed is mobility. I need to aid my mobility from one place to another. It depends again with the level in which you are in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We know that once you satisfy the lowest level, needs of higher level will always arise. But again, we have seen people who live in the leafy suburbs, say Lavington, Kileleshwa, the Karen, the Runas we know. But the news you get from there shows that money is not the only thing we need in life. It is only something that makes us comfortable. But the virtue that we need to have is we need to be contented with what we have. At least you'll be living a quality life. Remember, quality life is not, we don't have a standard to measure quality life. Therefore, what seems to be quality to me might not be quality to somebody whose perspective about life is totally different. I can look at Patrick, for example, and Patrick is very much contented. Patrick is okay the way he is. But when I look at him, he is walking, he is eating githeri, he is doing all those things that I may see or consider not part of quality life. But to you, it is. So everyone defines his own standards of measuring the quality of life. But to me, where I sit, I tend to think that those things that money will never, I cannot go to any shop to buy with money. When I have them, then I'm living my good life.
All right, interesting. Daisy, your perspective?
Like I was saying before, I like what Alphonse and Abok have said, because the quality of life, I've recently been seeing a lot of people talk about this, and the quality of life that you live depends again on the character, which is where Alphonse, talked about contentment. Let me tell you, you can have all the money in the world, but if your character is bogus, so are you. So is everything around you, because your character determines your attitude towards life. So the moment you feel like money is the only thing that can base or give you happiness, you're going to spend more money on things that you feel are going to give you more happiness. And when they don't reciprocate the same, that's where you find stress and disappointments. So at the end of the day, I think we need to make our character solid. We always talk about how money changes people. No, these people were bogus from the beginning. Their character was bogus from the beginning. So money only came when they got money. That's when it became like a trumpet, like a bubuzela. So now they're in this pedestal in the world where we can see what kind of bogus human beings they are. And it is always said that character is the oil in the lamp. It is what makes the lamp to burn bright. It is what makes the lamp to shine. So if you have bad character coupled by a lot of money, you're going to try to buy things that you really don't need in the pursuit of happiness. So you're using money as a pursuit for happiness, and you will buy all these things, and at the end of the day, they don't make you happy. They make you frustrated. So at the end of the day, what we need to do to achieve a better quality of life is to just have a good character. From there, we find contentment in good character. Then from there, regardless of what our environment is, whether we have money or not, nothing internally changes. The temperature internally is still the same, no matter, again, what happens externally.
All right, interesting. But let me get to it. Are you there? Wakesa, are you there? Wakesa? All right, nice to see you, Wakesa. But Wakesa, Daisy and everyone else, they are saying money cannot buy you happiness. But honestly, we know that with money, you can buy everything you want, especially in this country, in Kenya. Without money, you couldn't do things that Kina Jalamo were doing. So, what's your perspective, Wakesa?
Thank you for ambushing me with that question. Anyway, I have had the discussion partly as I was joining in, and I will begin by saying life has no marking scheme. You set your own goals and achieve them. Again, sometimes you'll set goals and you may not achieve them because life, there is a way you want life to be, but there is also a way the owner of life wants it to be. You are here and you are accountable to some higher power. For us who believe in a deity, we know we are accountable to God, and so we live a life purpose according to His will and the determination. So about money, Solomon, having lived and having been the wisest man on earth, it is said that he he said that money is the answer of everything. The issue is what is the question of life that money answers. But there are, indeed, when you look at life, not everything can be answered by money. They say that money can buy you a mattress, but it can't buy sleep. Money can pay for your dowry, but it can't give you love. Money can buy you food, but cannot give you appetite. So there's a limitation to what money can do, and we in the state we are in right now, I think everybody.
Okay, sir.
Those who don't have money seem not to be worried about COVID-19, but those who have lots of money in accounts and well. Hello.
Continue. We can hear you.
Am I on?
Yeah, you are very on.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm saying those who have even big money in bigger money in the accounts seem to be more worried of life than those who don't have. So money is not a guarantee that life will be good. Money, sometimes my lecturer used to make fun and tell us that don't think that when you will have enough money, that's when you begin to enjoy life. I was just walking on the road and I saw two people seated in a Range Rover. One is looking south, another one is looking north. These people cannot talk to each other and they are in a good vehicle. So it's even having achieved that, even having built a bungalow or whatever, you will still find people are struggling. And then the common denominators of life are like this. Love is love, whether it's experienced in Lavington or in Korokosho. Peace is peace. Peace is peace, whether you're experiencing it in on the first floor or ground floor. So those are the things that people don't seem to invest in. And these are the riches of the kingdom God talks about. Love, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. To him, that was the summary of what the kingdom is. We are human beings, not human things. Some of us, it's about what we have that qualifies us to live. No, it's who you are. At the end of the day, even when we pass on and we go to the other life, the Bible talks of you will be asked. Okay, many will come and say, in your name we did this and this, but he will say, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, for I never knew you. So what does it mean? It's what you become in life that is more important than what you own. You say naked, you come, naked, you will go. But there's something that never leaves you. It's what you became. That is what will accompany you to before God, and you keep account of your own life.
All right. Thank you. I want maybe now, Alphonse. There's so many issues in our societies. There is issues in health, politics, just community. There's so many issues. But now the question is, Alphonse, how do we design life to be beautiful and meaningful in a way that when you are living life, you are not waiting maybe for next year to do something, or even after 5 years to have achieved something. You can actually be doing that today. You live today.
You're asking me, how do you build 17th floor when you don't have a foundation and first floor and ground floor?
Okay.
Yeah, because how will you be in class 8 if you have never stepped in class 1? So if this year is the year to be in class 1, go to class 1. Don't look at your age. And I gave you an example here when you were discussing about the schooling issue and coronavirus. And I told you I have no reason to take my children in June or July or August this year to school, because my firstborn, who is in class 3, is 8 years old. Me, I was in class 1, 11 years old. And I am a graduate as we speak. And even along the way, I deferred studies. So if I start looking at my age, which is now what everybody else is saying, mtoto wangu anazeeka kwenda shuleni, my children don't go to school unless they reach the age of going to school. I have never taken a child to school before age 4.
Wow.
Yeah, because these ones, they have been born in this new era where there are 2 classes before class 1. So PP1 and PP2, then class 1. But anything before PP1 is not academic. So it's going to waste my child, and my child is better at home. And that has happened, and I have no apology. So, and I have seen my neighbors asking, mtoto atazeeka nyumbani. How can you become an old woman or girl at age 5? And because of the pressure, when you have not invested in understanding why do children go to school formally from age 5.
Yeah.
If you invest in knowing why things happen, then you will have a life driven by purpose. So people who want to be happy in life, number one, ask yourself, what are you living for? Where does it start? Then start from the beginning. Yeah. If you want to be a doctor, kindly pass your primary education, pass your secondary education. Then it's an academic exercise before you become a qualified doctor. You must go to university with the high and flying colors in our situation. If you don't have those high and flying colors, don't blame becoming a doctor. Just know that now that path has been closed because a good doctor. But the set standards for that path has been closed. If you got a C plane and becoming a doctor is minimum B minus, then that is closed. The only way to open it up is going back to get the B minus and above, and then you pursue the same medicine. If not, you leave it alone, pursue something else. Now, the other issue is don't live a life of other people. I got very good grades. Our results were in newspaper from the village. I almost got carried up by everybody who met me everywhere in the streets. Now, there's this pressure in my village that everybody now wanted me to become a doctor, or to become a lawyer, to become an engineer, any of those 3 high-flying jobs. Now, they were so disappointed when I told them that I've been called for agriculture, education, and extension. Now, what they didn't know is that actually that was my first choice. It was my choice. And to date, I have never regretted doing the course. Now, what am I saying? If you're an adult, don't impose what you missed to live into your children or into people under your care. Guide them, but guide them in the path that they will live a life full of what God has brought them on earth to do, or full of what their purpose is meant to be. So if you find people who are dissatisfied, number one, they are not living their life. They are living a life to impress somebody around. Anytime you want to impress, you are doomed. Because I can assure you, you will never impress. And if you impress, it will be short-lived. So people who are not happy, they're not happy because they are living somebody else's life. Whether it's their parents or their friends or the community where they live in. If you live in Lavington, there's a way in which we live in Lavington. So you start getting money borrowed and sometimes even stolen so that you can buy this type of car in the neighborhood so that you also have that. If your life took you to Lavington, but for whatever reasons, everything else has gone down and you have a home there, just walk to your house. Use a matatu. There is a route of matatu that you can alight somewhere within Lavington. Go to your house. It is still your house and you are still in Lavington. You don't have to drive to be there because time to drive again will come if it's a must.
Okay.
Now, the last thing before you go to the next speaker is why are we living a life and pegged so much on money? Now, how much money is good to start a good life? If you answer me that, then we can agree tukuchangie kama shida ni hiyo. Tuone kama utaishi maisha mazuri kama utapata hiyo pesa. Because if you think, there was a time I worked for 19 months earning 1,500 in 2004 and 5. 1,500. I'm giving the year so that those who think it's long time ago can also ask those who are there working to tell you whether 1,500 was good. And I was in a rental house paying 400 shillings a type of a house that 400 shillings can pay, they can also tell you whether it's a house you can live in. Now, that time, and wherever part of the country you can think about. Now, this type of life has to come to an end at some point. But that time, I used to expect that if this money could have just been given to 4,000, I live a very good life. After that job, I got another one for 2,000, and a third one for 2,000, a fourth one for 4,000. Then from 4,000, I got another one for 20,000. That was a very huge jump. None of those jobs ever satisfied me. By the time my salary got to 100,000, I had more problems than when I had 20,000.
Okay.
So what am I saying? I'm saying it is extremely truthful to say that money is likely to increase your appetite for things you cannot achieve. Money is likely to increase your problems if you peg your hope and your improvement of life on money. But if you get contented, then you are able to have little money doing big things, and you will not even notice that you now have a lot of money, because people will tell you siku hizi uko na pesa. Hata uko unajiuliza, where is my money coming from? Which money are people talking about? Because to you, your bother will be things you want to accomplish, which will always be bigger than the money you have. To them, the problem will be the money you have, yet you are spending them on things that to them should not be priority. That's my take on at that point.
Thank you very much. I can see Simon. Nice to see you, my brother. You're following. And then Aburi is saying, these faces are so serious, like Moreno Campo. Smile, guys. Okay, Aburi, do you mean Tunaka Moreno Campo? Abok, it seems you need to smile more. Eh? But anyway, now, let's go this way. Of course, there's people who went to Lavington. They were up there. And then life came, and then life happened, and then they fell, and then they went back to the ground, and then maybe they went back to Eastlands. They started living there. Now, such a person, how does that person find meaning and happiness and actually redesign life to be beautiful for him at Eastlands, and yet he was at maybe Lavington, or someone who was in a estate anywhere in the world. Maybe he was living in LA or somewhere else, and now he finds himself in Chicago. How does that person live a fulfilling life where life takes him? Abok.
Okay, Patrick, thank you. I don't think I'm too serious to scare that viewer or listener. It's only that we are listening to what is being said. Before I go to that, I just want to today I'll tend to agree with Alphonse. Not that we had shared before. In fact, I've not spoken to him for almost a week now. And the bottom line is you asked a very important question, that how can you live a life that you can actually achieve, or you can just achieve everything now, yeah? To me, that would mean that we are looking at growth without, that is development without growth. We are looking at ability without knowledge, and we are looking at knowledge without understanding. These things, they have to accompany each other. Today, if, for example, a son of a rich man inherits the wealth of the father or the riches of the father, and this young person, without knowledge, without understanding, without experience, is given this whole bunch of money, this person will die, because number one, he has to go through a process of development, growth and development. This person has to have a wealth of experience. This person has to be knowledgeable, and this person has to understand certain few things. And therefore, life takes us through stairs or staircase. It takes us through stages for us to understand our environment and to understand how to live in our environment. So each day at a time, And therefore, even if you are to achieve everything within one day or within 1 week, you cannot achieve them. Yeah. And therefore, I want to say that when we live our own lives, and now I'm responding to your next question. When you live your own life, there is a book I told you I read in the year 2007 and 8. And this is a book that really brought a lot of impact in my life. And it's in one of the topics or chapters. The thing that I can remember to date is that the author was addressing the need to always compete against yourself, so that when you fall, you are always ahead of yourself. You don't look at anybody else who is ahead of you. And it is a principle that I've borrowed a lot. I lost track at some point, but I went back to that particular principle, that when I compete against myself, then I will always ensure that factors that contribute to my happiness are within my own control. And therefore, if life elevates me to Lavington and life degrades me to Donham again, I have the power to control what is in my mind. And therefore, people may look at you that this person, maybe you have failed, yet right inside you, you are able to learn from your mistakes and go back and pick up from that particular point. It's very, very important that we learn the steps of life. Now, life is not a straight line. It is a learning process. And we can be better people if we learn from the past or from other people. But in a case where we fail to learn from other people, then it means we are going to learn from our mistakes. The wisest or the wise person will always learn from the mistake and accept the failures that came from his or her mistakes. Now, looking at that, let me just give you an illustration. Alphonse talked about cars and models of cars.
Yeah.
I wanted a model of a vehicle sometimes back, not because I really needed it, but because of the friends and the association. I wanted to belong to a certain group. And when I went and bought it, I didn't buy it in cash. I had to give part payment. So that means before friends, I would belong to that particular group. But right inside me, I was heavily burdened. I was looking at how to pay for this. So I wasn't happy. Even other people might have seen me happy. I wasn't happy. And therefore, the earliest I realized this and offloaded it and looked for a different one which would give me happiness, then that is the time I realized I should have peace. I'm happy and I'm able to eat well and even add more weight because right inside me there is peace. Now, I want to, we are addressing a very important issue, especially to the young people, and especially those who are thinking that money is the solution of everything. Alphonse has given a very good example. Some years back, I volunteered, and I was given 3,000 shillings, but I was living in a house of 1,750. So you can see what I was being paid and what I was paying as rent was more than half my pay.
Yeah.
I was only yearning to get 8,000. That if I get 8,000, I think my problems will be sorted. And I can give you the story all and all and all. I've had a debate of young people saying that I need money so that I can get married. I need money. I need to be stable. That is their language. I need. So I always disagree with them a lot. I like what Daisy said about character. Character with and without money is the most important thing in life. Character with money, how do you behave? How is the stability of mind with money? And when money leaves you, because it is normal, it leaves people. When it leaves you, how is your character without money? And therefore, what we need to build in us is a strong character that is morally upright. It's a virtue that we need to develop so that with and without money, we are still the same people who are known without money, because I know money changes people.
Thank you. Interesting. Thank you. Actually, Jackie, she's agreeing with you, our sister in London. So she's saying that's a nice, an important philosophy. All right. And also, I want to bring another perspective from Protas. Protas is saying money is an illusion to make people work and exchange goods and services. It's actually, that's the basis of his comment. So, but I want to come to Daisy. Now, Daisy, also, Abok talked about young people are saying, I need money to be able to get married. And Daisy, maybe I want to believe you are not married now. All right. Now the perspective I want to bring you two people here. One has money, yeah, but you don't know his story, and one has no money, but you know his story. That one you are talking about character. Between the two as a young person and from this society, even anywhere in the world, which one are you going to go for? Daisy.
So it's so funny that I get asked this question a lot. People are like, you look like someone who cannot date anyone with money. But here's the thing, I don't date money. I date character. At the end of the day, when you're choosing who you're going to live your life with, it's not money that you're going to hug at night. Oh, my money, come here, I've had a long day. Or you are the character of this person. There's this, where do we have to be equally yoked, or let's say compatible with this person. Money is something that we both can pursue together, purpose out to get money together. You do this, let's bring whatever we have together. But the moment you're equally yoked with someone, I like to have someone whom we can think together. Not that people always say communication is the key, but it's not communication really, it's comprehension. Because if I do something, or if I tell you something, I don't want you thinking that I mean something else when that is not what I mean. I want, if I'm able to tell you, like, Patrick, my stomach is aching, then you automatically know, Daisy, it's the food that you ate last night, or the fact that you did not eat, because you already comprehend, and we already have a vision of where we need to go. So the moment, money for me is not really a key factor, because it's something that we can purpose to pursue together. Find out how we can probably have more money, but I'm more into the character of a person, because this is what I'm going to live in, day out. You don't want to have somebody in the house who is like totally an enemy. And the moment you're not compatible with a person, already internally you're being affected. And the being of a person is not as much outside, but inside. That's why we are told we need to eat right, we need to sleep, we need to take care of our bodies internally, because whatever happens internally automatically manifests externally. So you see, we are at that place where we need to take care of who we are internally, so that also externally we are able to share and be in love and understand our partners, and kind of create a relationship that is full of communication and comprehension. So that's it for me.
interesting take, Daisy. But Wekesa, I hope you are there. Now, Wekesa, everyone seems to take that route. But I want to know what now. But Wekesa, how do we now design even the fabric of our own community and change this narrative maybe in our society that actually for you to live a dignified life or a beautiful life, it doesn't have to be backed on money like everyone is talking about. But how now can this be communicated, or how can this come from the ground? Because from what you are saying, that is like 20% of the fabric of the community. 80% is in the contract. Okay, sir?
Now, the society converts to us what we call an embodied will. An embodied will is living in the order of other people. Like Alphonse said that you go to school and you are told you have to be a doctor. So you are living other people's expectation. Some of us live because of our culture, the way we've been brought up. We are living even the expectations of our fathers, our grandfathers, and we are not really have discovered ourselves. So when you are in such a rat race where you are also, we talk about you need to overcome peer pressure so that you can do God's pleasure. If you are you are under pressure, like here you see Abok is married and I'm the only one remaining. So you start having the timeline for yourself, and you realize now that you are not free to make a choice. You are under pressure, and the choices you make are not the right choices. So for life to be effective, first of all, the journey does not begin from where you are to the next place you want to go. The journey begins from where you are to inside your heart. You need to go deep for you to go further. First of all, have to do what we call self-introspection. Understand yourself. There's a time David prayed this prayer and said, God, unite my heart that I may worship you. Most of people are so disjointed. There was that argument Paul put it that I desire to do this, but I find myself doing this. Sometimes we have so many things running in your mind, and some of them are not are the things you heard from people, are the things you see from media. The world is so noisy, and you pick everything and you want to package it and call it life. And you will at some point you reach at a place and you find like you are crashing. But if you do a self-analysis, do a self-concept, self-awareness, know who is Eric and what am I up to, you will find that you will run your own race at your own speed. Like Abok said, you will be competing with yourself. You will not mind how many people have gone maybe 2 hours earlier. You will not mind how many people are still maybe sleeping. But because you have your own life race, you'll be running at your own speed, timing yourself and achieving your purpose based on what is inspiring you from within. I want to give also a biblical example. When you look at the book of Genesis chapter 5, it's an account of Adam. And there are so many people listed there, beginning with, there's this guy called Methuselah.
Yeah.
who lived 969 years. But exactly when you look at how many verses are given to this guy, is only one verse, that Methuselah lived this year. After that, he gave birth to so and so, and then after that, he passed on. But you find people like Enoch, who lived only 365 years. He has more than 3 verses in the Bible. Because after that, it introduces what he did. So it's very important to understand what you are living for. Otherwise, you can just add up the statistics. Another interesting story for me is the story of Joseph. When they give the account of the story of the sons of Jacob, it's very interesting that the Bible begins with Joseph, and Joseph is the 11th born. Why? Because this is a person, apart from just living, he understood who he was. Twice we are told about his dream. The rest we are not told. The rest they are only numbered that they were brothers of Joseph. So when your dream or your life comes up, then you find meaning, and that is what makes your life have a focus.
Thank you, Ekesa. Thank you very much. Alphonse, can you address? There's Jackie. She's saying, can someone talk about to design life that requires almost no money? Actually, yeah, this is also a very interesting concept.
Can someone talk about?
I want you address how to design life, live a fulfilling life based of no money, almost no money, but especially
if you. No, don't even continue. Don't even continue.
Okay.
You might distract me from that hot one.
Okay,
if you design life with money, then that is lifeless life. That's don't have money in the equation. Money is like fuel. If you are designing to move from one location to the other, know the location where you're going. So if by any chance you don't have fuel, you must ask yourself, you have a car but no fuel, then how much do I have? You might decide to use a hired car. If it can use, if the distance can allow that. If it can't allow that, you might use matatu or public transport. If that is not possible, you might use, you can walk. You can borrow a bicycle. You can walk. You can actually go to a friend and tell them, I have a car, but I don't have fuel. Then they can give you the car. So the fuel only facilitates this thing to happen faster. But this thing can happen without the fuel. You can move from one location and get to the other. And we have walked. I used to walk 2.5 hours to school daily, class 1 to 8. Now, when I went to first year, I could not walk a distance of 10 minutes. Yeah, just from where I stay, which is our hostels, to the classroom. I used to find that people are saying it's a long distance. So how you wire your head is clear. If you put money in the equation, you have gotten it wrong. The rest are stories. So money comes to facilitate.
Alphonse, but she's saying,
yes.
Jackie is saying, or a little money as possible. This concept is actually picking up in the West. People are moving from mortgage houses.
We are not the West. I have on this show, I've raised the issues. We should not copy the West. We are not the West. Actually, I have raised this matter here. This concept of money, and particularly paper money, plastic money, and now we have cryptocurrencies. These are West concepts. They know how it helps them. For us, it only makes us poorer because it steals our coffee, it steals our minerals, it steals our oil. Yeah, you can't exchange crude oil with little money, and there's the same oil you need it back at a higher price than what you gave it out, and you are the source. So when we are discussing matters of life and designing life, the first thing is, if you go to a strategic planning session, before you ask where will the money come from, you must have completed what you want to accomplish in that strategy. So if you start with the money, then the strategy will never exist. But once you have finished and you discover, okay, now I need a car. I personally I did a wedding in the church. Now I went to my pastor and told him I wanted to spend 20,000. I was working. I was doing a good job in a multinational, working in 5 countries. So the problem was not that I don't have money. Neither did I have a problem of being stingy. But when I went to my pastor, I just needed to have, because I needed a marriage. So my marriage needs more money than my wedding. So if I was to spend so much money in my wedding, then what I would have lost is now when I need the money in the marriage, I will have not have it. So I went to my pastor and said, I want to spend 20,000 to feed people who will be in the church service. I want to have a Sunday service. After the Sunday service, you join me and my wife and we go. We had discussed it with my wife to be at that time. Now, when we finished that design, pastor told me, by the way, 20,000 can even do, you can still do it on a Saturday with the 20,000. What I want you to do, because you have also been a member of the church and people might want to participate, you tell them the date. Have the way you want to arrange your 20,000 to operate. Then let us announce it. But if people want to chip in, allow them. So I remember the only thing I told my colleagues and the only thing I told my church members is that I'm having a wedding on 11th of May. Now, what surprised me is that the committee told me, I had a group of friends, 5 of them. It was not, we were meeting in our own houses. I said we cannot pay places in town to meet in Nairobi because that's where I was living. So we agreed that we will be meeting. I will host this one, next one. If we have a meeting, somebody want to host will tell us. Now, if you want to host but you want to feed us and you don't have money, talk to the chairman or talk to me, Alphonse. So, and we used to eat 300, 500 is enough for the food, na kunywa chai, and life moves on. And by the way, we were serious people. We were graduates. We were doing good jobs. So the problem was not that we don't have money, but we decided to live a normal life, not a spendthrift life because we used to lack. Now we have to spend. Now, when you are designing life, address the basics and address the basics well. And basics don't require money. They require people. Most of the things you spend money on, it's going to be done by a person.
Okay.
Now, let me finish this because that question of money is popping up every day, everywhere. Now, if you are doing a wedding, and I'm using the wedding because it's usually an intensive thing. If you are doing a wedding and we had 6 months to prepare, now, when we did the initial budget, when I told people just budget, don't worry about where the money will come from. Now, the cake was almost 40,000. Yeah. But when we did enough, the guys in my team now started walking around the weddings venue and we got people. We discovered we can get a person who knows us, and because we know them early enough, they will do this cake with less than 15,000. Now, such things, though, the budget for the cars and the entourage, do you know we got all the cars from people who said, me, I can give you my car, but I may not attend your wedding. I can drive a car. If you have a car that needs a driver, I will drive for you. That's the support I can give you. I don't have a job. At the end of the story, the money we raised, we only bought some part of food. And the rest of it, I spent it on a honeymoon.
Wow.
Now, please, when you're thinking money, don't compete somebody else.
Okay.
You have some money today as we speak. So if you have 2,000, don't budget for 2,500. Budget for less than 2,000, and there's something you can do with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alphonse. It's interesting that you are talking about church weddings, but I want Abok to address this also in terms of church weddings. Abok, this one will be hard on you. Statistics show us that those people who have done church weddings are the most who are actually leading in terms of divorce when you go to the high court, even here at Milimani in Nairobi, or even anywhere in the world. All right. Now the question is, living a beautiful life, does it have to be begged when actually you go to church and they say, if you have not done a wedding, you have no say, even on leadership? Is this how now we design life and living a beautiful life, really?
Well, Patrick, I think it's Wekesa who set me on this particular.
That's why I'm looking at
track.
you as you answer.
Yeah. Yeah, but I want to start by saying that at any given moment in life, you are ahead of somebody, so you don't need to worry. This is not related to wedding, but it's a life thing. At any given moment in time, somebody is looking upon you as an inspiration, and therefore don't kill yourself trying to be somebody else who is ahead of you. No. Number two, now the issue of wedding, and Alphonse has talked about it in his own way as a permanent and pensionable chairman of wedding in my place. I just want to address it generally. I want to state that number one, 80% of those who are doing weddings in church are those people who fake humility at the highest order. That means that at that time, you'd want people to support a life or to support an event that is not going to make your life in marriage even better. Now, one thing that people need to understand, and especially young people, is that wedding or having a wedding, especially in church, it should never be equated to having a wedding that is worth millions of money. Because we have seen people, and especially young people, looking at wedding ya fulani. And even Wekesa, yours has been mentioned several times in the committees that I chair. Anything outside of AG and the church, the pulpit, belongs to the community. So it's you to decide, do I want to appease the society? Do I want to appease the community? Or do I want to live my life after this particular event? Wedding is an event, and marriage is a process, is a lifetime process that all of us, you will never be judged by the kind of wedding you had, but you'll be judged by the kind of life you are living in your marriage. It's very, very important that we note that. That you don't need to stretch yourself. You don't need to struggle to please people. Yeah, you only need to live to please yourself, and you only need to live right within your means. It is something that is there. Wekesa can tell you that there are weddings where someone wants to have a wedding of 500,000, but himself or herself, they have nothing on the table, completely nothing. And yet you want, yeah. So recently, just a few days ago, there is a brother who approached me and he said, I just want to have a wedding of 100,000. Is it possible? Then I just told him, what do you want yourself? According to you, what constitutes a possibility of a wedding? Currently, going to AG is 1,400. Paying church depends with the church you are coming from. Where I come from, it is 27,000. Now you have 30,000. Any other thing is a luxury. If you want to feed the community, feed them. If you don't have, you don't have to. Life has to continue after that. Yes. So I just gave him that particular analogy. Yeah.
Thank you. That's interesting. Actually, Jackie was saying Alphonse's proposal was not so clear, but anyway, but Daisy maybe found that maybe she now understands what he was trying to propose. But I want to say also me, I felt it was a bit, it was 50-50. So I was not so sure. The concept I want to bring to Daisy this way, Daisy, in the West, people are now starting this kind of concept whereby the philosophy is you try to live a fulfilling life, which is based on experience rather than what you have. And then I've had a book talking about you can actually do a wedding with the minimum amount of money. I don't all that. The question is, why are we even talking about a wedding in the first place? Is it really okay for ladies? Also, Daisy, can you address this? Is it a must for ladies to have weddings so that actually you can live a life after?
Well, I think for me, from my perspective and everything, I like to agree with Alphonse because it's not the ceremony that's important, but rather the afterlife. Because you're going to live, a ceremony is just a place where people come in agreement to celebrate the path that you have decided to take, But you're the one who is going to go home and you're going to live life with this person, So wedding is just a ceremony, something to bring people together for a limited amount of time to celebrate a choice that you as a person have made to, forever, when we always say like forever till death does us part, purpose at the end of the day. So like Alphonse is saying, at the end of the day, we cannot compare ourselves to the West and the experiences that they have. When you say that, it's like saying the grass is greener on the other side, not knowing that also the grass can be green on your side, but you can only water the grass on your side depending on how much water you have, what type of grass you're growing in your area. These are some of the factors that you need to consider, which is very different for different people, in different environments. And I like the statement that Alphonse said. He said that, I think, is it Alphonse or Rekesa who said that money is the fuel that facilitates life to move faster, So you can only go as far as what you have. The moment you start wishing, this is where I want to be, this is what I need to do, this is where I should be, instead of looking at where you are now, it's very difficult. So I'm going to give you like an example with my cosmetic company. When I first did the budget, I created like this whole plan of the thing that I wanted to do, of how I wanted this cosmetic company to take place. And the original budget for everything came to around 8.6 million. That's what I needed if I was going to do all the things that I wanted, So I went to banks and tried to get loans and tried to somehow find how I can be able to raise this 8.6 million to be able to create the kind of cosmetic company I wanted. So once all these options fail, I came back and I had to ask myself, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to start this business? And it was yes. Is there an opportunity? Yes. Are you sure you're passionately going to see and invest in it every day, even if it's going to take a long period of time? Yes was the answer. So at the end of the day, I had about 60,000 in my savings account, and I was able to boil it from a budget of 8.6 million and started it with 60,000. And you see, from where I am now, it is giving back because people are starting to notice that this is really something good. This is something. So sometimes life calls for adjustment, working with what you have. Because sometimes I even always go to say, probably if I had that 8.6, I would have gotten it at hand and put it into something else. Because the moment you have money, your vision starts seeing other things sometimes, and you tend to forget your initial plan. So I'm really glad that we are really approaching that phase where we need to take life as it comes. If you're not able to, this is where you want to be, but you cannot be there now. What can I do with where I am now to slowly progress into where I want to be?
All right, interesting. Thank you very much for that question. All right, Wekesa, I'm on you. I know you are the vice chair of wedding committee.
Me, I'm the MC of fundraising.
For fundraising.
Yes.
And Abok is the chairman, eh?
Yes.
We go as a package.
So, But anyway, I want you to address this. Actually, Abok decided to be very safe on that. The fact remains, people who are not doing weddings, church weddings, not AG, they are living a happy life, and divorce is not leading in that numbers. Where is church weddings missing? Where is the mismatch?
Patrick, before Ekesa talks about that, that question escaped me.
Okay.
There's a time, there's a time I was reading a certain article, and the author was saying that don't waste your time going to church looking for a partner in marriage, but instead go and camp along the court gates, because divorce cases are so many, and after that you'll find a very experienced partner from a court case, that is divorce. I will agree partly with you. Number one, and Wekesa posted something recently. When people fail outside here, they camouflage, they decorate themselves in the name of a brother and a sister. Then they go to church, and then they find a ministry to serve in. After that, their main intention is to get a partner from the church. When they succeed in doing so, they fail to understand that there is something that they never worked on, which is their character. And once they succeed in getting the partner, they go back to their former self, and they realize that this is who I am. And things start, the hell break loose at that particular point in time. One instance is a friend who got married, and 3 months later, the wife started saying that my people brought a lot of gifts and a lot of items, and therefore I'm well off out of this particular bondage that you have brought me into. And they had to divide things, and the lady had to carry a lot of things more than the gentleman. So, and I want also to say that there are also pastors in the church who never got saved, but they are pastors. And that tells you, even the congregants, there are so many who are there for different purposes. And therefore, the church should rethink the strategy of who to admit to have this in the church and who should never be. But again, you'll realize that the pressure is so huge that for you to be in let me use this term, to be elevated or to move from one level to another, and especially in senior ministry positions, you must have done a wedding in church. So it's a pressure also that is also being created. But over and above, we have pretenders who are going to church to get marriage partners. After that, they get back to their former selves. I started by saying that in chairing wedding committees, you will meet those, I can call them the meek of the meekest. Yeah. The humble of them all, but meet them after honeymoon or even 3 months after that. They have become themselves, and you just leave them. Yeah.
Interesting. You see, Wekesa, bring now your perspective. After Wekesa's perspective, I want to go to the parting shots, and then we'll finish for tonight.
Okay. I think one of the things, a few myths need to be debunked. One of the things that people need to get it right. Most people say my marriage was made in heaven. You wonder whether that is true, because when you look at the first marriage God made, Adam and Eve, was in the Garden of Eden. Everything was made on earth, and marriage is lived on earth, not in heaven. And sometimes people become so heavenly minded until they forget the basics of life. Somebody said that when God made for Adam, Eve, and when Eve, when they sinned, the first thing Adam did, he accused God. He accused God and said, "It is the woman you gave me that did this." And so he made a joke and said that from that time God lifted up his hands and he said, "Man should find a wife." So it is your responsibility as a man to look for somebody who suits you. Most of the time we spiritualize a lot and we say that I want somebody who prays, who calls for, and you realize that that is not what marriage entails. Marriage is not about going missions. Marriage is not about praying. If two people are not compatible, they won't pray. They will be fighting. If two people are not compatible, they will not go for those missions. So Bishop Haig said that every young man wants a good life. They want to enjoy marriage, but they are not investing. So maybe the difference may come is that when people who don't look like they are in the environment of church, he knows what he wants and he goes for it. And sometimes in the environment of the church, you think that everybody is a saint. So you approach them with the sainthood. Bwana asifiwe dada, Mungu amesema. I remember there was one example where a brother approached a sister and told her that God has said you will be my wife. So she said, "Okay, I'll go and pray about it and give you the answer." So when she came back, she said that God has not permitted me. And the man said that, "Okay, I prayed and he confirmed that you are the one. Kamwambia enda uombe tena." So when he came back, was told, "Did your God forget to tell you that I am somebody's wife?" So what was he saying? Sometimes we go in the name of God, but we don't know the background. Just present yourself. You love this lady and you want to live with her. Understand her, let her understand you. God does not impose people to each other. So that is some of a few gray areas that needs to be sorted out, that as much as you are spiritual, when it comes to marriage, the reason why God doesn't want to allow it to happen in the spiritual realm is because it is lived on earth. And when you reach in the house, she's not a praise and worship leader, she's a wife. And she expects you as a husband to play the role of a husband, not a preacher. So that's why real issues of life needs to be handled. Real counseling, people to understand the issues that pertains marriage, so that we divorce it with too much spirituality.
Thank you, Alphonse.
Okay.
Professor, thank you very much. Alphonse, we go to your parting shot, and maybe you can base it on the way forward on how to live a beautiful life.
Yeah, this topic is confusing because I don't know if they're talking about beautiful life in general or marriage in specific. But since I am specific
Alphonse,
about,
because
yes,
marriage is also part of the beautiful life, how people
yeah.
live.
So yeah, but let me see here. You know, these things are usually very huge. But let me focus on marriage as I conclude, because I think relationship around marriage is very vital. It is a lie, spiritually and statistically on earth, to say that there are more divorce cases, because only maximum of 4% of people who have gotten married in church have filed for a divorce. So 96 have succeeded in being married for more than 15 years, for those who have lived above 15 years. Now, the people whom you are giving us as statistics, you also don't give us their story. And I want to give an example of two media personalities who lived for over 6 years, had a child of 6 years old, who was 6 years old. Then they got married, and 3 months down the line, they were now separated. Now, and they were boyfriend and girlfriend for the 6 years where they got even a child. Now, you see, that is soiling the name of marriage, because either they were married for the 6 years, or these people are just reckless. It was just time. So when you tell me that they took 3 months to get divorced after getting married, they had been married for over 6 years, for God's sake. That's how I want us to look at it. Now, in church, is where it's only at AG's office, in church and in the mosque, where we have certificates, and therefore we have statistics. So if you marry in the village the way we are used to customary marriages, you discover that we don't have statistics of how many people have done such a thing. As a result, there is no way of saying they divorced, because there is no divorce, there is no marriage, so there is no divorce. Now that your definition of marriage in this type of context is where you have a certificate, and the revocation of the certificate is the now definition of divorce. However, if you look at people who have cohabited as their form of marriage, then majority of them, and that is over 6 in every 10, have separated. And some of them separated and rejoined each other after a while. Now, I don't know whether that is still context of marriage. If it is, then between that one and the 96 or 48 in every 50 who have lived in marriage when they have gone to the church or AG's office. Yeah. Now, what we should be discussing, and I think now that you have raised this, you should bring us another topic to discuss this issue of marriage. Now, for people to live in a marital situation, there is something called premarital counseling. It's a psychological issue. It's adopted in church. If done the way prepared, it's supposed to take 8 weeks minimum. If you go through this program well, before you marry, you'll either run away or be aware that I'm actually ready for this marriage. And that preparation, 98% of people who have gone through premarital counseling properly and adequately have lived in their marriage. 2% have had issues that have made them dissolve the marriage. So it is a lie to say that people, the rate of divorce is going high. Lastly, on that one, is the fact that when people get married, they are adults who have their own ambitions, and everybody is coming to their own house with their own rules, to discover that the other person also has their rules. So adjustment is what makes them don't know how to clash. Now, how people address these things is not a function of marriage, it's a function of their past. So if your past was violent, then you end up in a marriage whereby problem solving is violently done. And such are the things that if you don't address them before entering into that marriage, then you're likely not to make it. Concerning money, if you base your life on money, it is baseless. So be assured it will fall, whether it is getting a job by paying a bribe, getting married to a person because they have a lot of money, or because you have anticipated money that they will get there, you will kill each other. So I think I want to make it a pause at that point. And those who want to get married, please don't be scared, but don't try to get married. Either get married or don't. It is you who is getting married, not the other person. So if you are going to try, it will fail, because it is not a part of a trial. It's one of the hardest aspects of life to live. So either get married or don't. But if you try, it will never succeed.
Thank you. Bob, now you can give your final parting shot, but also you can comment if someone actually can live a fulfilling life without necessarily getting married. Abok, unmute your mic.
Thank you once again. I want to register my disagreement with Alphonse, but we'll prove that in the next discussion, that some of the things that we are talking about are actually true. But regarding what you are saying, I think the central bank governor of Kenya actually is not married. So I don't know whether he is living a successful life or not. But again, I want to go to the institution of marriage. Where do we find it? Marriage is an institution that is ordained in the Bible. It's a scriptural institution. And therefore, whether you are going to live outside of this and become successful, number one, you have missed the mark. According to me, you have missed the mark. So anything that is outside of the Bible or scriptures, to me, is something that is not worthy of our discussion tonight. So whether you are successful, it's like a thief who is successful. You are stealing, and according to all the fundamentals of a good life, you live that good life. It doesn't make sense. You are stealing from people, so you started on a wrong footage, and therefore everything else is wrong. The second thing that I want to talk about is, and I want to repeat what I said, that when you search for your true self and you understand whom you are, then your journey will be a very beautiful journey. It will be a journey that you are the one who is calling the shots in your life and not the environment or the society around you. I want always to live a life where I'm competing with and by myself. When I succeed, I put a tick, I succeeded. When I fail, I am always ahead. I say, I failed, but nobody is ahead of me. Number three, the statement that I made is, at any given moment in life, you are ahead of somebody. At any given moment in time, somebody is looking upon you that I would want to be like Patrick. I would want to be like this. I want to be like Alphonse. I want to be a good salesperson like Wekesa. When we get to understand this, then we don't need to tear ourselves. We don't need to struggle becoming the person who is ahead of us, because we are already a person ahead of somebody, and therefore we are ahead. My last thing is that the best life is a life that is based on the scriptures. We have a blueprint in the life of Jesus Christ. It is the life that all of us should strive to copy. It is the life that will lead us to another life that is endless. And therefore, every other thing, just like Paul said, every other thing is vanity. Let's look at the quality of life as a life where our relationship with God is the first. Every other thing shall be added unto us, be it the peace of mind, be it happiness, be it all those things. There is a blessing and there are blessings. We are already blessed. We only need to activate our blessings to come on our way. And therefore, seek thee first the kingdom of God, and everything else shall be added and to you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Daisy, your parting shot?
I'm saying I'm so excited that this happened because I've received so much insight. Like I've taken in more than I thought I would give out, which is really, really good. But what I'm taking home with me is the concept of contention. You know, the moment you're contented and you just give your best in life, that's it. Because a lot of stress comes from what happens internally, thinking I should go faster, I should be better, I should do more. When sometimes you want to do more, but the situation around you limits you, or your resources limit you, you know? So you can only go as far as what you have if you really want to go further. And there's no shame in starting small, you know? And there's no need for you to compete like, I need to have a car like Nani's, I need to have a wedding like Nani's, because at the end of the day, we live with the consequences of what we choose, you know? Any decision that we make in life does not affect others as much as it affects us. It affects us 90% and others like literally 10%, because they have the grace, you know, to move and do their own life. So in short, what I am just encouraging everybody is to let us just be content with where we are. We can only go as far as we can, you know, and life has no marking scheme. The moment we make a mistake, I think we need to come to the realization that, you know, now that I know better, what can I do best that I did not know, you know, what we did before. And we need to work on our character, you know. Let us work on who we are as a person, because at the end of the day, like the guys are talking about marriage and everything, but if your character is not right, this automatically pours into other people around us, you know. You may find a good person, you know, but the moment you don't internally, it's not good, you end up affecting this person. So now it becomes a chain of hurt people, where it says hurt people, you know. So let us just work on being good ourselves, you know. Let us work on our character, let us work on our internal, you know, self-analysis. That's something we've also talked about, self-concept, where you're only competing with yourself, where you have to inspire yourself, where you have to work on you and work towards you. So let us have our own goals. The only competition we have is against ourselves, you know. If today maybe you say I need to eat a whole sufuria of ugali, and the moment you eat that sufuria of ugali, now you automatically qualify to another new challenge that only you can beat, not out of competing with others, but so that you can say, you know, I'm content, and this and this and this is what I can achieve. So basically that's the whole platform for happiness. If you expect somebody else to make you happy, it's impossible, you know. You can only, the moment you're happy internally, your temperature, the moment your body temperature internally is okay, it doesn't matter whatever is going on outside of you. It will not affect you as much as internally, because what happens internally, that's why internal bleeding kills faster than, you know, outward probably injury or outward effects, because internal is where the function is. So the moment our internal is great, that automatically, regardless of all these places, we succeed, we focus, provided here internal is okay.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you. I want our customer shot.
Yeah, I will say that most of the time, the things we consider blessings in life are not actually blessings. They are just life additionals. But the true blessings comes from God. You may amass enough wealth on earth, but still you are not a blessed man. And so we need to understand what constitutes blessings of life, so that you don't have to move east and west. And life begins right from where you are. You don't have to go to US to succeed. You don't have to go to Canada to succeed. If, one of the things that I like the scripture perspective is that when God blesses you, He says, "Where are your footsteps?" So it means the blessing are within you. It's not where you are, but it's who you are. Wherever you go, you manifest those blessings. So if we realize that life is within us, the kingdom is within us, the power is within us, the faith is within us, the strength is within us, then we are able to release that. In the words of Daniel, he says that those who know their God shall be strong and they shall do exploits. What you need to know, when you know your God, you know God owns the manual of your life. He introduces you to yourself. So when you understand yourself, you walk with confidence and you know whatever you are doing, it's the right thing you are doing, and therefore you need to manifest. One thing John Maxwell also said is that most of the people, the reason they don't enjoy life, let me give you an example. There are people who are waiting for 2022.
Yeah.
And you ask them, what is wrong with 2020? And what about 2021? So if you are waiting for, or if you're a young man, you think if I get married, I will enjoy life, you will be disappointed. So this is how John Maxwell puts it. Learn to enjoy the journey just as the end. If you can't enjoy the process of even courting, engagement, don't just think that when we finally get married, marriage will be beautiful. Enjoy the whole process, even that period of dating. That is, if you are in the period of dating, please do enjoy that. If you're in period of engagement, do. If you're in the period of even searching for jobs, enjoy that experience. When you finally get a job, you will understand. Life is learned backwards. You look backwards and say, this far I have come, it has been the Lord. I want to finish by Acts 13 and verse 36. It says that David, having served his generation by the will of God, he lay down and his body saw decay. Have a good night.
Good night. I think because I agree with that, even Jackie is agreeing with that. So I want to say really the most important thing here is the process. And we have to enjoy and love that experience, even in this COVID-19. I've always said this COVID-19 to me is actually okay. And actually it's good for us. It's actually changing things, systems in our own country. We are addressing issues we could never address. So
Yes.
I want to say thank you guys for tonight. Thank you for joining. Everyone who joined this. And Jackie, we send you our love from Kenya. We are safe here. I hope you are safe, and everyone else who joined. And then I want to say see you tomorrow. But in terms of this topic, basically for us to alleviate pain and suffering, guys, we need to experience, we need to enjoy the experience. We need actually to design life, not necessarily based on material possessions, but based on the quality of life we live. So good night.
Maybe what I
Preach
can
it,
just
preach
say
it,
that
preach it.
what I can just say is that the topic was so wide. Next time you pick one piece of
Thank you.
life and
Thank you.
we can talk about love, we can talk about marriage. Life is so big, so we were just
you.
we were unable to get the bearing.
Daisy, your mic, yes.
Your mic is now okay. You can say something, Daisy.
I'm saying, if it's possible, can you just download this video and have it a segment on YouTube for people to see and go
It will be
through,
on
because
YouTube.
we've talked so much.
Oh, thank you. It's good.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Good
And
night.
Daisy should be there tomorrow. Daisy, we are lacking ladies on the show.
Yeah, but you know, my only issue was the internet, but now it's fixed. So every day, like literally, I'll be here.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you. Tomorrow it will be hot. Thank you.
What's the topic?
Wakaita polisi, kumbe polisi pia ni shabiki. tukaficha msosi, wakatupata na dishi mezani. Rumba imejaa, sauti na nielia kumejaa, kila kona kwenye extravaganza na pili alipofika.